Inspirational real-life stories, overcoming challenges and achieving greatness. Life is full of struggles, but some people rise above their circumstances and achieve greatness. Their stories inspire us to push our limits, stay determined, and believe in ourselves. Here, we will explore the real-life stories of individuals who have faced incredible hardships but never gave up. 1. Nick Vujicic, born without limbs, but full of life. Nick Vujicic was born in 1982 in Australia with tetraamelia syndrome, a rare disorder that left him without arms and legs. Growing up, he struggled with bullying, self-doubt, and even depression. He often asked himself, "Why was I born this way?" However, instead of giving up, Nick turned his struggles into a source of inspiration for millions. He learned to do everyday tasks in unique ways, using his small foot to type, swim, and even play sports. Today, he is a world-renowned motivational speaker, best-selling author, and founder of Life Without Limbs, our non-profit organization that helps people overcome challenges. His message is simple: if I fail, I try again. You should too. 2. Oprah Winfrey, from poverty to media queen. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in the world, had a tough start in life. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi, she faced extreme hardship, abuse, and discrimination. At a young age, she moved to live with her father, who encouraged her to focus on education. She got her first job in radio at just 17 years old, and her natural talent in communication helped her rise in the industry. Eventually, she launched The Oprah Winfrey Show, which became one of the most successful talk shows in history. Despite her struggles, Oprah built a billion-dollar media empire, became a philanthropist, and proved that background doesn't define your future. Her words of wisdom: turn your wounds into wisdom. 3. Stephen Hawking, defying the odds of a fatal disease. Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest scientists of all time, was diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, at the age of 21. Doctors told him he had only a few years to live. However, he refused to give up and continued his studies at Cambridge University. Despite losing almost all physical movement, Hawking developed groundbreaking theories on black holes and the nature of the universe. His book, A Brief History of Time, became a global bestseller and inspired millions to explore science. His life proves that the power of the mind is greater than physical limitations. His famous quote, "However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at." 4. J.K. Rowling, from rejection to a billion-dollar success. Before becoming the world-famous author of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling was a single mother struggling with poverty and depression. She wrote the first Harry Potter book while living on government welfare and facing constant rejection from publishers. After 12 rejections, a small publishing house finally accepted her book. It became a global phenomenon, selling over 500 million copies worldwide and making her one of the richest authors in history. Her journey teaches us that failure is just a stepping stone to success. Her advice: rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. 5. Elon Musk, the man who redefined innovation. Elon Musk is known for revolutionizing industries with companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink. But his journey wasn't easy. Born in South Africa, Musk faced bullying as a child and later struggled financially in his early ventures. His first companies, Zip2 and XCOM, later PayPal, faced massive challenges before becoming successful. When he started SpaceX, the first 3 rocket launches failed, almost forcing the company to shut down. He invested all his remaining money into a 4th launch, which succeeded and changed space travel forever. Musk's story proves that persistence and innovation can overcome any obstacle. His motto, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." Conclusion: turning struggles into strength. These inspirational figures show that no challenge is too big if you have determination, resilience, and belief in yourself. Whether it's physical disabilities, financial struggles, rejection, or societal barriers, the human spirit can overcome anything. Which story inspired you the most? Let us know in the comments.
Unbelievable true stories of people who refuse to give up. Life is unpredictable. Some people are handed the worst possible situations, yet they turn them into incredible success stories. These are not just ordinary success stories. These are stories of unimaginable resilience, mind-blowing determination, and the kind of grit that leaves you speechless. Let's dive into some of the most extraordinary real-life stories of people who refuse to give up. 1. The homeless man who became a multimillionaire. Chris Gardner. Imagine being homeless with a baby, sleeping in subway stations, and struggling to find food only to later become one of the most successful stockbrokers in the world. That's the true story of Chris Gardner. In the early 1980s, Chris lost everything: his savings, his home, and even his wife left him. With a baby in his arms, he slept in public bathrooms, shelters, and sometimes on park benches. But even in the darkest times, he refused to give up on his dream of becoming a stockbroker. After months of struggling, he landed an internship at a brokerage firm. He worked tirelessly, sometimes sleeping only a few hours a night, and eventually, he made it big. His story inspired the Hollywood movie The Pursuit of Happiness, starring Will Smith. Lesson: even when you have nothing, your mindset can be your greatest weapon. 2. The woman who woke up during surgery but couldn't move, then became a doctor. Have you ever heard of anesthesia awareness? It's when a patient wakes up during surgery but is completely paralyzed and unable to scream or move. Dr. Ann Welch was just 14 years old when this horrifying thing happened to her. During surgery, she suddenly became aware of everything. She could feel the pain, hear the doctors talking, but couldn't move or scream. It was pure agony. That experience was so traumatic that instead of fearing hospitals, she decided to become a doctor to help others. Today, she is a leading anesthesiologist who ensures no one else suffers what she did. Lesson: your deepest pain can become your greatest motivation. 3. The man who failed over 5,000 times before changing the world. James Dyson. You probably know the name Dyson from those high-tech vacuum cleaners, but did you know that James Dyson failed 5,127 times before creating a working vacuum cleaner? For 15 years he worked on prototypes that kept failing. He went broke. No company wanted to fund him. Everyone told him to quit, but he didn't. On his 5,128th attempt, he finally created the world's first bagless vacuum cleaner. Today, Dyson is a billion-dollar company, and James Dyson is a self-made billionaire. Lesson: the difference between failure and success is just one more try. 4. The man who was paralyzed then climbed Mount Everest. Mark Pollock. Mark Pollock was a born athlete. He was strong, fast, and had big dreams until a tragedy changed everything. At 22 years old, he suddenly lost his entire vision. His world turned black overnight. But that didn't stop him. He became an adventure racer, competing in some of the most dangerous endurance races in the world. Then, another tragedy struck. In 2010, he fell from a second-story window and became completely paralyzed from the waist down. Most people would have given up at this point, but not Mark. Instead, he set a goal: to walk again. Through cutting-edge robotic technology and relentless training, he became one of the first people with paralysis to take steps using robotic exoskeletons. Oh, and did I mention? Before his accident, he became the first blind man to race across the South Pole. Lesson: even when life takes everything from you, it's up to you to take it back. 5. The woman who was rejected by NASA 3 times, then became an astronaut. Jessica Meir. Jessica Meir had one dream: to become an astronaut. She worked hard, studied space science, and applied to NASA. She was rejected. She applied again. Rejected. She applied a third time. Again, rejected. Most people would have taken the hint and quit. But Jessica? She kept pushing forward. On her 4th attempt, she was finally accepted into NASA's space program. Years later, she became one of the first women to take part in an all-female spacewalk. Lesson: if you hear no enough times, eventually someone will say yes. 6. The deaf woman who became a musician. Evelyn Glennie. Music is all about sound, right? So how does someone who is completely deaf become a world-famous musician? Meet Evelyn Glennie, one of the greatest percussionists of all time. She lost her hearing at just 12 years old, yet she refused to give up on music. Instead of listening to music the way others do, she learned to feel the vibrations through her body. Today, she performs barefoot so she can feel the music through the floor. She has won Grammy Awards and performed with the biggest orchestras in the world. Lesson: your biggest obstacle might be your greatest advantage. 7. The man who was pronounced dead, then ran a marathon. Mauro Prosperi. Mauro Prosperi was a marathon runner who signed up for the toughest race on earth, the Marathon des Sables, a 155-mile race through the Sahara Desert. Halfway through, a massive sandstorm hit and completely blew him off course. Lost in the desert with no water, he wandered for 9 days, drinking his own urine and eating bats to survive. On the 9th day, a rescue team found him barely alive. Doctors said he should have been dead. 1 year later, he ran the marathon again. Lesson: the human spirit is stronger than the body. Final thoughts: why these stories matter. These stories prove one thing. No matter how bad things get, you always have a choice: give up or keep going. Lost everything? Chris Gardner built his fortune from nothing. Faced rejection? Jessica Meir never stopped applying to NASA. Physically broken? Mark Pollock still climbed mountains. Success isn't about luck, it's about resilience. So what's stopping you from chasing your dreams?